Hello, everyone, fellow travelers, fellow warriors. Well, today is a super powerful day. It's the 4th of March 2022, and that is the Mayan signature of it. And as you can see from here, this is a burner day. This is one of the 4 most dynamic days in the 260-day sequence. 3 Chikchan, the celestial snake, connected to our original source of power, the sacral, where we are most directly connected into the fabric of the three-dimensional reality. It's the umbilical cord, literally, of getting fed by nature. In that sense, Chikchan is about survival and instinct, about all our primal powers which are at the root of who we are, which allow us to survive, which allow nature to survive, that very basic resonance and rhythm which keeps everything in tune. So this is a powerful day today, the 4th of March, and there is a Sun-Nessus conjunction today, and I will get you started on that in a minute. It's a day of resetting, of spinning the wheel again. That's what the meaning is of the burner cycle. It is every 65 days existence comes and spins the wheel of fortune. So today, yellow, the red electric serpent, guided by Muluk the moon, which stands for water, which is connecting us all. So this is a super day of really feeling into the collective and slightly nudging it in the right direction, or maybe a little more, maybe a bit more with a strong push over into the right direction. You could say it's a that moment when you sit in the car and all of a sudden you need to tweak your steering wheel so not to hit the pothole, kind of something like that. Anyway, so I activate, in order to survive bonding instinct, I seal the store of life force with the electric tone of service. I'm guided by the power of universal water. I am a polar kin. I establish the red galactic spectrum, and red is the starting point always. Red is east, red is where the sun rises, red is where every intention is born. So once more, we are here on this day today, March the 4th. Yesterday was a portal day. It was a challenging day in many ways, dealing with duality, the seed, the cosmic seed, the lunar seed. And in the bigger picture, 2 days ago, the Akbal cycle started, and that was new moon. Most interesting, this synchronicity with the Akbal. 13 days starting on the same day as a new moon. We get back to that too. Akbal is the third 13-day sequence in this, what's called the yellow, right? It's the yellow southern castle. Sorry, I just had to think about for a sec to say it right. So the yellow southern castle, which is the 4th 52-day sequence, and that one started on February 4. Here with one Kaban, where it is here. Okay, that was the beginning of the yellow southern castle of expansion, and no wonder that was just when that freedom convoy really was at its peak. It had started on the 29th, actually on the 23rd of January. It was started on the 29th. That was the target date. That was when Venus turned direct, so that was in itself a powerful marker in time. Then on the 4th of February, we got into that dreaming cycle, which we are in, of dreaming a new reality into existence. That's what Kabban is about. It is connected to the swirls of incense in the air, shows that chaotic movement of smoke through the air. No two movements are same, and yet it is an extreme rhythm and resonance in it. There is beauty in it. That's the most wonderful thing about nature. As at its very core is sacred geometry. Wherever you look in nature, it's perfect, it's beautiful. Only when we come in and mess with the situation, then things get ugly. Anyway, so if we allow nature to be just in the driver's seat and go along with it, feel it, sense it, then we are in the right place. So to this day, to celebrate this day, I want to play you something here which I have been okay, that's not good. Okay, let's just do this. So yes, just had a little issue here with my computer. So here I'm back. So before we go into the astrology of today, I want to play you this clip which I just discovered again. It's from 2011. Bill Woods, a military insider who has been working on the 2012 paradox, which was discovered through the looking glass technology, that all timelines would eventually converge, coming to a singularity, and he was on that team who did that research into how to prevent that from happening, basically. So that's here a clip from 2011, and I'm playing you here a few minutes. It's super powerful stuff.
End of the world is end of their world. The biggest cherry on top of all this conversation would be a synopsis to say that if I could convince everybody out there that for all intents and purposes, what we believe to be true eventually becomes true. If somebody convinces us that a major disaster is going to happen in the very near future, a major disaster happens in the very near future. If we don't buy into that fear and accept that there's really nothing that we know is going to happen.
Nothing that we know is going to happen. That's an interesting statement. So it really shows that we are the creators of reality. And this always shows most distinctly, I would say, with solar flares. Solar flares always happen in resonance with big events on our planet. I discovered this first time 25 years ago, not quite yet, 2011, and 2001 even more so. Just 24 hours prior to 9/11, there was a huge solar flare, 9.5 or something. And exactly same thing before the Fukushima atrocity. There was a huge solar flare, and it is most interesting also just in the late few weeks we had two major solar flares on the backside of the sun. One was directly hitting Mercury, bringing that planet into a higher resonance, which in that sense is synchronistic with our mental energies resonance being pushed a few notches higher. And just on the 15th of February we had a huge solar flare, probably an X20 or 30 or really huge. It would have taken out lots of satellites here. Was directed towards Chiron and Pallas. The two had a heliocentric conjunction within hours of that flare, which is very rare. That happens only every whatever 6 years or so. In Aries, and we will get to those two planets. They meet geocentrically not too far in the future, actually on the 16th of March. Now that's at an energetic intent. Pallas is the asteroid of art, science, of understanding patterns, and Chiron is about healing, the healing journey in a nutshell, of uncovering the wounds, cleaning them, for nature to come in and heal. Because that's really the only thing which is important, is the initial steps to get the bones straight, and then nature get them in line and put them into the position where they can heal. So the healing always is nature. But we have to do certain steps to heal, and that is the recognition of what is happening now. Let me continue playing this. This is a very cool stuff.
And accept of whatever happens, that makes the convergence of the timelines happen as naturally as possible.
Yeah, when we just allow things to happen, no fear, everything's on track. Just think of that smoke swirling through the air. It's a natural process. We just have to trust that. And then okay.
Any attempts to try to go away from this one inevitable conclusion,
That all timelines
I
converge.
again see as a new beginning, an end of this reality, the beginning of something that we can't even possibly understand based on the level of our beliefs currently.
Now, we know this was predicted for the end of 2012. However, there was this delay, or maybe you could see it as a warning, as a trial, a test run, which we had in 2012 to get ready, and we now had 9 or more than 9 years now to fully get into a better place, to truly make the best out of this situation. So it was happening naturally, as everything does, with a deeper reason. So here we are now. Now listen to how this plays out according to Bill Woods, who has analyzed this 2012 paradox of all timelines converging, that nothing can go wrong at this point anymore. Okay, here we go.
But when all that information comes flooding out, there's going to be no denying what's true and what's a lie or what's illusion. Basically, what we're experiencing right now is two master chess players sitting at the board.
Exactly.
And one of them looks down at the board and sees that he's in checkmate in 7 moves. And he looks across at his opponent, and he knows that his opponent sees it too. So there's no getting out of it. So at this point, The loser can only prolong the game.
That's what they're
Both
doing.
players know the game is over. It's only a matter of time before he does this, and then you're forced to do this, and then he's forced to do this, and eventually checkmate. We, as a race, if we could understand that the game is over, that based on the rules of the game, the bad guys have already lost, the good guys have already won. Yes, there's moves left on the table, but those moves are being forced by the player that is going to win. The only way that checkmate can't happen is if the player that's winning makes a mistake. But from all of the information that I've gathered, all of the information that's been given, all of the information that's been vetted to me, it seems pretty obvious that the good guy player on the side of the chessboard knows exactly what has to be done to win the game. And
yep, that's where we are. That's where we are. So we have just to allow these moves and counter moves, which are almost like stepping up a ladder. With each move, the other side makes the dark side. We have to pull even. We become a little bit smarter, a little bit wiser, a bit more opening our eyes to the really largest picture, to the universal one, the all one picture in that sense. So anyway, let's go back to today, that powerful day of March the 4th with the Sun-Nessus conjunction at 1418 Pisces. Close to Jupiter. Well, if you wouldn't include Nessus, you would have expected these last and present days to be pretty bright and expansive and joyous and feeling almost victorious, I guess one could say. However, Nessus really is spoiling the show here a little bit on one level, and on the other side it is also the revelation of all that darkness, bringing it out into the full open. Jupiter is also an amplifier, a strong amplifier. Whatever is touched by Jupiter is loud and big, huge, can't be overlooked. That's why, in general, all Neptunian energies are extremely amplified, since Jupiter has joined Neptune here and will be in this sign together with Neptune till May the 10th. So this is really the when the waves are high, when things are going wild in all directions. That amplification of Jupiter with Neptune. And now Nessus comes in, and Nessus, as you probably know if you have followed my shows, is a very dark character. It's a centaur planet, and it has to do with stain, wounds, poisoning, bad intention, abuse of its worst kind. It's a very pathological energy to start with. So Jupiter and the Sun bringing light and are exposing it, bringing light to heal it, bringing light to have the compassion for it, because it's an energy. It is also part of the bigger picture, part of the divine, and every agent of every archetype has its meaning, in the sense that it is a polarity to the good, to the light. And like, you couldn't have a photograph without black pixels. Just think of that if you think of black and white photography, which is at the very base of everything. So you need the dark pixels. So today is a day we see and clearly understand the need of dark pixels in a way. We are able to embrace the existence of darkness, which is a powerful day. Now let me just switch the chart. First I want to point out this. I mentioned Pallas and Chiron just a few minutes ago, as they had their heliocentric conjunction on February the 15th, just hours within that huge solar flare. You can see the I made a post on my Facebook group, Celestial Rhythms. If you are not yet there, please join. That's where I'm regularly posting. I don't have always the time to do a bigger thing like here now. Anyway, just saying, this is super intense and interesting that we have this Moon Chiron conjunction just a few degrees away, as Pallas is now pulling close in the next few days. To be most exact, as I said, on the 16th of March here, having that geocentric conjunction with Chiron. Yes, this is a time of extreme focus on healing. That is what it said. And in hexagram 21, it's about biting through an obstacle. It is an energy of clearance, of taking measures, stepping in, doing the right thing. Even the court system and the penalizing of the one who has committed the crime, that comes in here too. So it is a very complex and strong Aries energy, which is ready to take on the challenge and bite through the obstacle. And that's where we're in since most intensely since Chiron entered that hexagram. 9 degrees 30 is the cutoff point, goes into 15 degrees 07 30. I have all that information also on my website, thecosmoswithin.org, all the degrees, the breakdown. And this is again based on the teachings of the human design system with the overlay of the 64 hexagrams over the zodiac, for those of you who are new here. So now, this is the global chart for Greenwich. I want to take you note of the 13th, 14th degree of Leo, which is here at mid-heaven. And I'm just doing two things now. I'm jumping to Kiev, the center of the world's attention right now. And this same moment when Nessus is exactly conjuncting the Sun is here right at the 4th house cusp, at the source point. It couldn't be more clear that this is just one of the nodal points which the history of this present evolution, of this present merge of all timelines is most important. This has been set in time and space as a coordinate, and we can definitely see it here. There's always these confirmations in astrology that nothing happens without a reason. Everything is part of the bigger picture. Everything is necessary to that degree, and then it is on us to receive it in the right way, to understand, to understand, if some people like to say, to react in the right way, and to use it as a stepping stone, almost as a push-off point into a much greater height. It's really the polarities are building on each other, pushing each other up, and that is a day where this truly can be felt and understood on a very, very deep level. Aside from the Sun here with Jupiter and Nessus exactly at the source point in Kiev, below Kiev, I should say. This is the meridian, the plumb line of that place, the meridian which goes all over the globe. All places on that meridian have that same degree overhead at this point. And then the ascendant, that is differing naturally depending on the latitude on Earth's globe. This astronomy, it's anyway, it's very simple. This is the ascendant. That's where the sun is rising. That's where it would be setting, and you see the nodal axis here. It's pretty epic, the whole thing. I mean, this chart is so powerful, and this is still coming as I'm recording. This is still a few hours away. We're still approaching this conjunction, this confluence of energy. So you see, it's 0:13 early on March the 5th Kiev time, and it is, if we go Greenwich or Universal Time, it is tonight at 10:13 p.m. or here in North America it would be somewhere in the afternoon, early mid-afternoon, as we are anywhere between 5 and 8 hours behind Greenwich Mean Time. So anyway, that is the coming up in a few hours, to plant that seed. And well, there's a few things I wanted to. Okay, let's go back now to new moon for a minute. This is when this 13-day cycle of Akbal. Akbal is the night, and the beauty of the night is that we enveloped by darkness, we see all the stars. Think of this for a moment. In broad daylight, stars are hidden, but if we have the darkness, then all these little sparkles come out against the backdrop of the dark night sky. That is the energy we are in. Abundance is the key note for Akbal, the heart of the mountain. This is the 13-day period, the third day we're in right now. So it is all about that, going deep within and finding the jewels, the diamonds in the piles of dirt as well deep within, everywhere, going to the bottom of what is. So this was the new moon, and naturally the new moon already had that energy in it, as it was just 2 days prior to meeting Jupiter and meeting Nessus, who had actually their conjunction. Jupiter was exactly conjunct Nessus on that same day, just a few hours earlier. So this is really the theme of the month, you could say. To bring light into the dark, to have the compassion and see that everything is exactly as it should be, that we can rise from the lower levels of emotional response and truly embrace the whole reality in the way it wants to express itself. And naturally we get lots of help too. You see, there's this Uranus sextile, and then there's Chiron here exactly at the midpoint, and when the two will be conjunct at 11:23, they will be most exactly between those 2 points. Again, saying with Uranus here in Taurus, bringing higher frequencies down to earth. That's the most basic meaning of that. Taurus is planting into solid soil, ground, giving it a body, giving it a real visual and tangible expression. By the way, Tesla has Uranus in his birth chart in Taurus. I mentioned that several times, showing that he was one of those archetypes, I would almost say, who has shown us how to bring energies into the physical, into being harnessed and recognized from a much higher dimension down, and give him roots and visibility. So this is the basic theme here, and as the nodes are approaching Uranus over the next many months, there is this merger coming up, probably towards the end of the year or so. I haven't looked that up yet, but this is the greater theme of this year. And naturally, at the tail end of this, yes, free energy is coming, is getting distributed wildly and widely. So, yeah, this is with Chiron here in the middle, very clearly that is the setup for a big breakthrough in healing towards oneness, of understanding all the different players, and not today, just for a little teaser, you might have heard RT News, the Russian channel, has been banned from Telegram, which was probably the last place where it still was available. And naturally, I was aware of that since quite a while, that Telegram too is really owned by the dark guys. They just let us play with it. So I was told that already, as I say, months ago by some friends. Go over to Signal, and I definitely will open a Signal account, and you will find the link to that on my Facebook page, on my Celestial Rhythms Facebook page, or you can just search for it. I will again give it the name Celestial Rhythms, or my personal name, I'm not yet sure on that, Koji Vihara, just for those of you who would like to keep in touch, even if things get even more crazy, which they will at first. So I want to just make the loop here to my last chart, and tease you a little bit with this one, because I will call it for recording right now. I don't want to make it too long. And then do a second one on what's upcoming in the next few weeks, as we are really at the center of this extreme transformation. That's really what it is. It's the 52 days of expansion, to go back to those castles in the Mayan calendar. Just want to zoom back to that for a minute. See, again, reminding you that's today. The fourth castle, the yellow southern one, started on February the 4th and goes into March 28th. That's 4 times 13 days. You see, you have to read it down here and then continue up here. So that would be the first 13 days, the second 13 days, and we are now in the third day of the third 13 days, and then by where is Muluk here? Yeah, by the 29th of March, we're entering the last 52 days on One Muluk, the green central castle of what did I say, of renewal, exactly, when all the things start falling in place in a way. It is always after the 4 different directions. The central castle, the last one, is the integration process. I guess that's the best way to say it, when the different angles of what has been playing out all come into oneness, and that's when it will get really interesting. That is starting March the 28th. You can order. Yes, the 28th will be the first day. Anyway, just wanted to say that we are in this phase of expansion, of shining, of using our intelligence, our energy to bring everything to its utmost expression, and then allow everything naturally to fall in place towards the end of this month. Anyway, I wanted to tease you with this one. The Mars-Saturn conjunction upcoming on April the 5th. This is around the time when the real big moves will come, and it won't be easy, it won't be smooth. It will be wild and rough and difficult. We can see that. So it will be a relatively short phase. And the beauty of it is we have this great balancing principle here of Jupiter and Neptune that will meet on the 12th of April, just a week after. That's Mars-Saturn conjunction here at 22 degrees Aquarius. So just a week later we have this, and then towards the end of the month there will be a solar eclipse in Taurus, and on that day Venus will join Jupiter and Neptune. So there is the second part of April will be definitely celebratory. There will be some major moves which will be difficult and challenging before that, and we are just building up to that. We are generating momentum right now in the next few weeks. Anyway, that's it for today, and just keep watching my second one, which tells you more about the different powerful alignments of what's upcoming in the next few weeks. Okay, thanks for watching. Please share or subscribe or join Celestial Rhythms on Facebook. That's the 3 places. I'm also on Telegram for now, and as I say, Signal upcoming. Thank you. Take care.